Good morning, Tallahassee. It's time to wake up Warchant on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Here's Warchant.com's Aslan Hajavandi and Corey Clark.
What is going on? Let's do a radio show called Wake Up Warchant right here on 97.9 ESPN Radio. I'm Aslan. He is Corey Clark. This show brought to you by For the Table Hospitality. And there are three great locations over in the College Town District, Madison Social, Township, and Central. Climbing over that hill known as the Week. Memorial Day weekend on the horizon. Corey, how you doing, man? How you holding up?
I'm good, buddy. You doing all right? You hanging in there?
I'm trying, man. I'm trying. Yesterday was got defeated by, just life. I went to the gym, came home, made myself my usual post-workout protein shake, and the top broke. So I was shaking it, and my house, it looked like a chocolate bomb went off or something. So spent the better half of like an hour mopping and cleaning every crevice in the kitchen of my place because there was like chocolate everywhere. It was terrible, man. It was a tragedy. I don't even care.
Sucks, buddy. But at least you worked out, man. At least you got those endorphins from your workout.
Yeah. It was leg day too, man. Leg day. Got to build a strong base. Out there. So they went by fine. Also, man, this is probably the wrong person to ask. No offense. I love you, man. But
boy. Okay.
What's the point of having a bicycle if you have to quite literally pedal your rear end off and not move more than the pace of a steady walk? I was driving in around town yesterday, and I pull up at a light on Monroe Street, and I see this car like brake quite suddenly, and then I hear a bus like slam its brakes on because ahead of them was a person on a bike on Monroe Street, not on the sidewalk, but trying to just, I guess pedal as close to the curb as they could, but they weren't doing a good job of it. But they were cycling so hard, you could see them straining, and they were under such duress, but they weren't moving fast at all. Like, what's the point of biking and pedaling if you're not moving fast?
I feel like it's for when you get those downhill runs. Because then you can't, even if you don't have the leg strength to really propel yourself fast on a bike, I'm talking about as an adult, or as a kid, I guess anybody on a bike, still you can't, so you're not going fast at all. But if you get on that downhill, then you're making it up for lost time right there, buddy. That's when you get it up to 10, 12, 14 miles an hour and you're really moving. Winds in your hair, all that good stuff.
Look at you.
That's the only thing I could think of, because other than that, it's just a lot of strain for no extra speed at all.
Nothing. I mean, nothing at all. And meanwhile, you've almost caused a 4-car collision probably because, I don't know, you're out there trying to get ready for the Tour de France in Tallahassee.
Man, those bikers, I tell you what, man, especially Tallahassee. I mean, people in Tallahassee know they have all the, half the streets now have bike lanes. But, man, they are, they're an aggressive bunch, those bikers. It's like they have their right of way, and you better stay back. I think if I was a heavy-duty biker, and obviously I'm not, you can tell by the way I talk about it and, looking at me. But those people that bike 2 hours a day, man, I would be scared to death that I would get hit by a car. And these people, it's willy-nilly. I'm turning left. You better watch out.
My good friend lives in Birmingham, and he's hardcore about this stuff. And, he shaves his legs. He's that hardcore about it. He actually did get hit, poor guy.
Oh.
But
yeah, I figure if you bike long enough, all of those people have some sort of either accident or almost deadly accident where they almost get hit by a truck or a car.
Yeah, get a membership to a gym, just stay inside the air conditioning and just pedal on one of those things. You're making it tough for everybody else driving these 3,000-pound machines, but anyhow.
Sure, for sure.
All right, so we'll talk about the baseball team in a little bit. They had a walk-off victory in Durham yesterday to move to 1-0 in pod play over Virginia, but obviously the big story that dropped on Tuesday.
So it's not pool play, it's pod play.
Pod play, sorry, Corey. Thanks for correcting me.
No, you said pod play.
Oh, did I?
I'm asking you that it's not pool play anymore. It's called pod play.
I think so because you're in a pod. They put you in a pod. That's what they call them instead of a pool.
What a dumb term.
So hoity-toity.
Anyway, congrats to them for winning on a walk-off again.
So hoity-toity, those people in Greensboro and Durham, man. Everything's got to be fancy.
Pod play.
Meanwhile, there's 80 people watching a baseball game on a Tuesday afternoon, but that's neither here nor there. On to more pressing matters of larger gravity and consequence to what people mainly care about that listen to the program right here on 97.9 ESPN Radio. To Wake Up Warchant. News dropped on, I think it actually happened overnight Monday, or maybe happened very late Monday night, and then it eventually kind of made its way into the news cycle Tuesday morning, was the fact that Josh Ball, who had, I guess a lot of us, I'm not counting you on this one, Cor, but myself forgot about the fact that he had this sort of issue hanging over his head regarding, a domestic sort of dispute, I guess you could say. He had some sort of I don't know, I can't even think of the right way to describe it. There was a pattern of misbehavior with him and his significant other. She had filed the charges against him, and this was something that obviously happened under Jimbo Fisher's watch. But the day of reckoning was earlier this week, and he's been suspended by the university. But that same sort of student code of conduct panel that I guess didn't absolve Jameis, but neither put the blame on him nor the accuser, went ahead and put the responsibility at the feet of Josh Ball. And so the guy who was penciled in probably to be the starting left tackle is suspended from the university effective immediately, Corey. But there's some details out there that are kind of conflicting.
Yeah, there are. And, these sort of cases, these sort of situations, and I don't want to sound dismissive by calling it a situation. It's a woman claiming that he was, violent with her, at least on one occasion. And, I guess I've never quite understood where the university, why a student conduct panel would come into play with something as serious as that allegation. To me, and I've always thought this, and I know this is not your question at all, but I'm a politician, so I'm answering it how I want to. I don't know why this is a university matter and not a police matter.
Right.
I don't understand why his life is determined by some students or students and faculty. Why would that, if he was violent with her, if he made threats to her, that's a criminal matter. And it's just bizarre that so many of these cases, including some of Jameis's case, in all these cases, it always seems to get kicked down to the road, and it becomes the university's responsibility, and it's society's responsibility. If that kid, and again, it's an if, we get it. I'm not going to have to say that caveat again. We all understand it's a allegation, but if that's the truth, then that needs to be a society. That's not just, obviously he shouldn't be in a university. He shouldn't be at Florida State. He shouldn't be walking around. There should be real repercussions. It's more serious than getting suspended from school. And I don't know. I think that kind of, it trivializes it almost in my mind. And it always has. Like, okay, you think, and this isn't the case here, but you think Jameis Winston sexually assaulted someone. Suspending him from school is the correct punishment? No. And I just use Jameis Winston because it's a Florida State case from recent memory. Literally almost every university in the country has pending legal matters that deal with sexual assault allegations. And I just don't understand why those are kicked to, why those become a university matter. Those should become a criminal matter. And that's my 2 cents on it. I'll hop off the soapbox now.
Well, I mean,
if he did what he was alleged to do, and you're right, man, I know that it's out there, but I feel like it came out like a year and a half ago, those allegations. And to be quite honest, maybe in between segments, we'll go research what those allegations were so we can speak more authoritatively on it. But I can't quite remember exactly what those allegations were and exactly, quote unquote, how serious they were.
Well, I have it.
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. Then.
Well, I'm saying I have it in front of me here, so I'll send it over to you. I mean, it happened back in November. So bear with, obviously, as we pull up the story. I'm going to get it over to you so you can kind of follow along.
November of 17?
Yeah, November 2017.
Okay.
But, yeah, there was never any charges pressed from, the authorities on this. There's obviously conflicting information on this because it's one guy and then it's another, and then a girl is also obviously giving her side of the story. In a story from the Tampa Bay Times, it says the Ball denied hurting Sellers in a September interview. Also, his roommate told police that he never saw Ball hurt the young woman. Ball also showed police a video where the young lady was striking him and threatened to ruin his life, quote, if he would not let her leave. Probably should go ahead and let her leave. But that's neither here nor there.
That's the
Right.
That's the other side of that video. Great, man. It shows her hitting you. It also shows you not letting her leave.
Right.
I assume is what that video shows.
To get back to the point earlier, the conflicting information that we're getting, and Irish O'Fell is the one that's kind of trying to flesh some of this stuff out. The fly in the ointment in this is that we're talking about kids and privacy laws and student privacy, so it's hard to get definitive answers from the people in charge, whether it's the athletic department or the administration. But to Ira's understanding, and this sounds bizarre to me because the young lady actually did a screenshot of the document that came from the actual hearing, and on it says that, Josh Ball is found responsible and is suspended from the university immediately. Apparently, though, he will have the ability to appeal this ruling, and I think Ira is actually saying that, from what he's heard from folks, that he'll actually be able to continue his usual, quote, activities that are related to school. So that's a crazy thing, too, because you're like, well, shoot, if he's suspended effective immediately, I mean, this isn't baseball or a professional sport where when you get suspended, you appeal and they let you keep playing until they hear your case. I mean, I figure in a matter of this magnitude, they would, but you got to have some recourse for an appeal. But I feel they would try to maybe, make you at least sit out a semester before they would be able to hear it and then give it a thorough sort of review. But to your question also as well, Corey, about the reason this ends up not being a law enforcement matter and it becomes in the hands of 18, 19-year-olds and then, university professors who, for whatever reason, have a certain preconceived notion. People think about certain things when it comes to societal norms and the way life is changing for this country and the world. It's because it's sort of the unintended consequence of Title IX. Title IX has obviously opened up doors for female athletes and female students and given them opportunities that they otherwise would not have gotten. But this has also given universities the leeway to create these sort of panels to give victims or women, in this case, the ability to have their grievances heard, even if it doesn't get to the law enforcement and the court level. So, yeah, I mean, there's no charges pressed. I mean, we don't know what.
Why weren't there charges pressed?
We don't know for sure.
What was her allegation? We heard his side of it. What was her side of it?
Her allegation was that, she got struck. She got struck, and there was actually, I guess, a photo of her with a bloody knee. Or a cut on her knee. So it was the accusation that there was dating violence occurring against her. So, and then obviously she's a slight young woman. I guess they even put like her stats in here. Good grief, poor thing. He's 6'8", 325. So it's tough to, give him like any sort of slack in these sort of things. She showed the police a photograph from the day she had a red handprint on her thigh, according to the incident report from back in October. She said that she was also smacked on April 1st in an incident that bloodied her knee. So, I mean, yeah, these are her, the things that she endured or is accusing him of. So it comes to a point
obviously,
where they don't. Law enforcement also needs it. Law enforcement needs to have, the proof, and then obviously they're working with the DA to determine. Well, the DA is the one that's going to determine whether or not they're going to press charges on, Josh Ball in this sort of instance. They don't want cases they don't feel they can win. So a lot of times that's why these are such sensitive topics, is because, they don't want to charge a guy that they don't feel they can get. And it has nothing to do with the dating violence. It has to do with any sort of crime that comes before a district attorney or a prosecutor, is the fact that if they can't win said case, they're really not that interested in trying it. So they felt they probably didn't have enough evidence to charge and get a conviction on him. So they kind of went ahead and let it, just simmer down and hope it would go away. But she, exhausted her options and went to the student panel and obviously has dealt a blow to Josh Ball's career and life, even more importantly.
Yeah, I mean, I've always been uncomfortable with these things being adjudicated by students and professors. I don't understand why they would. Something as serious as this. It's not a scooter being stolen. Something as serious as this. Potentially, it makes me uncomfortable. And because I guess my thought is, if he did do it, getting suspended isn't enough. That when you commit violence against women, especially when you're 6'8", 325, man, that's not good enough for me. Oh, he got kicked out of school, but he's still an active member of society. He can go play somewhere else. That's what bothers me the most about it. And why do they have better? why are they more? I don't know. Why are they more credible to render an opinion on this than our court system? And I get what you're saying that they can't. If a prosecutor doesn't think they can win, we don't even know if it got to a prosecutor. We don't know if she pressed charges. But even if she didn't press charges, which I guess she did or tried to, that's almost not up to her. If you show the cops footage of red marks and say he did it, I don't know. And it's hard to even talk about this kind of stuff. And I know I'm all over the place. It just, again, it's always made me uncomfortable that this stuff gets adjudicated by universities who are not they're not, that's not what they do. That's not their mission, right, is to render people guilty or innocent based on violent offenses. I just don't think that's what universities are in the business of. There needs to be something else in this country. If there needs to be a middle ground between all these things that happen at universities and the actual police, there needs to be something else. It's always made me uncomfortable that this stuff gets adjudicated one way or the other by students and faculty members and not the people that get paid to do it for a living.
Yeah, it's obviously, again, it's a difficult sort of situation here, and we don't know what the fallout's going to be in terms of, obviously we know the fallout. Right now, I don't know how anybody could even think that he's going to play for Florida State this season, but with the details that we saw from Ira's report on warchant.com on the Tribal Council, it sounds like there is an avenue for him to appeal this, and he might be able to even remain active with the program throughout the appeal process.
But if we feel he actually did it, then no, he shouldn't be. Right. I don't think any Florida State fans, if he really did this, if he's ruled, but who are they to make that ruling? I guess that's my point. What gives them the power, other than the university, obviously, to make that ruling and say that guy is guilty? Because they're not saying he's guilty. They're saying
responsible. It's a whole different,
You know what I mean? Exactly.
Well, they're just, I'm sure it comes down to the fact of, if he bared responsibility in, making her feel unsafe. Because listen, this isn't a court of law. It's not necessarily that he, committed any crimes. But if there's a student code of conduct where you have to treat your fellow students with respect, and if you harass them or make them feel unsafe, that is against the student code of conduct. I'm sure that's the sort of language they attacked at it. And, these reports, he smacked her, left a red print on her hand or on her leg, and she had a cut knee, and she filed an injunction against him, which I guess is what they used to call restraining orders, and he couldn't be within 100 feet of numerous buildings on campus, because I'm assuming she had classes there. I'm sure that's enough for her to say that she doesn't feel safe at that university, and then that is, he's responsible for making her feel that way. And we don't.
Right, but what if they were at Chubby's or an establishment that's not a university establishment? That's not shouldn't that be a Tallahassee matter too? Do you know what I'm saying?
Well, yeah, these I don't think these incidents happened solely on campus or anything like that. It was dating violence that occurred over the course of their relationship, and it wasn't just one time. I think there was even
but I'm saying the injunction or him not being able to go 100 feet from her in a building shouldn't just be limited to campus.
Well, it also included her house, her parents' house, her church, her job, TCC.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it was a whole bunch of things that he couldn't go anywhere towards. So, it's tough to talk. Again, it's tough to talk about this, but ultimately, at the end of the day, this is it's an unintended consequence of Title IX that the schools will be given this much. I don't know. To some people, I look at it as an unintended consequence. I think some people might look at it as a reprieve for young women to get justice. But it's just it's just a wonky way to figure things out here. And we'll dive further into it, and unfortunately talk about the football aspect of it, because this is going to throw a wrench into whatever sort of plan Greg Fry obviously had for Florida State as he becomes the offensive line coach for the Noles with Willie Taggart. And I'm kind of curious to see what Willie thinks about this. We're not going to probably hear about it, but you'll hear from me and Corey in a minute. We'll be right back. It's 97.9 ESPN Radio. It's Wake Up Warchant.
Warchant.com is the ultimate inside source for FSU football and recruiting. And now you can get in on the action for free for an entire month. Warchant.com is offering a risk-free 30-day trial subscription. Get full access to the #1 website covering the Seminoles just by entering the promo code WARCHANT30. That's WARCHANT30. Sign up and get in on the world's most active FSU message boards. Receive breaking news, stories from our award-winning staff, plus get exclusive interviews and videos. Just enter the promo code WARCHANT30. Warchant.com, your ultimate Seminole sports source.
Wake up! Wake Up Warchant, 97.9 ESPN Radio. I'm Aslan. He is Corey Clark. The show brought to you by For the Table Hospitality. Reminder, folks, voting is winding down. Go over to warchant.com. Make your vote for the most famous running play in Florida State history. Sounds like Greg Jones might be pulling away with it, Corey. He obviously made Dexter Reed famous by knocking his head off back in the opener in 2003. I don't know what the next category is, but we'll keep you updated on that, folks. But yeah, go over to Warchant. Use your promo code Warchant30 if you're not already a member and get your free 30-day trial and see what all the cool kids are doing on the internet. All right, Corey, so should we go ahead and talk about the football ramifications of this as opposed to the moral and societal obligations, or did you want to touch on anything else?
No, I wanted to reiterate, because I was all over the place in the first segment, and Lord knows the way I talk, I kind of have a little Jimbo in me where I go from topic to topic and a lot of non sequiturs. I just want people to understand that obviously if he did it, if he's guilty, not only do I think he should not be on the football team, I think he should be not walking around. And that's kind of my problem with these rulings. It's of course it's better than nothing, but to me it doesn't seem like justice. Violence against women, the justice for that shouldn't be, hey, you're kicked out of school. It should be much more severe than that. I guess that's my only point. But I
don't know, man. That's pretty big, man. I'd almost rather do like a month in the clink if I was him than to lose a scholarship, get kicked out of school.
Both would happen. I mean, if he did a month in jail, he'd also be off the team. I think it should be both. I don't think if this stuff it really happened the way she said it happened, I don't want him walking around doing it to someone else. I just think I don't know that this is enough punishment if he did it. I don't think this is, in my opinion, it's not justice just to be kicked off a football team. That's not nearly enough. That's almost trivial to me.
And here's the thing. If he appeals it and wins it, what would the appeal be on the grounds of? I mean, what would make people feel comfortable? I mean, would he have to be totally absolved, or would they say that, I mean, he's 6'8", 325. There's really nothing he can do to garner any sort of sympathy in this matter. I don't even know how he can appeal it and at least save face from a not public relations standpoint, but just, I mean, being a teammate or just being walking around that campus, it's hard to even see how.
No, and if he was found, he shouldn't be on campus if he did it. Obviously, he shouldn't be walking around amongst us. And I guess that's my larger point is that that it can't be tolerated in any sense. And I even think him just getting kicked out of school is kind of tolerating it to a sense. Like he still gets to drive around in a car and go to movies and eat at restaurants. I don't know if necessarily that should be the case if you're committing violence against people.
All right. So let's look
that's all. That's all I was trying to say. I'm not trying to trivialize it, and I'm not saying that these student conduct panels are a bad thing. I don't think this is nearly the for a matter that this is serious. Is this serious? I don't know that this is the best avenue to adjudicate it.
Yeah, I agreed. I mean, my only thing is it's just bizarre that we have a justice system in place that is the letter of the law across this entire country in all 50 states, and it has no application to what happens like at a university. It's just it's bizarre. I mean, I don't know. I'm a villain sometimes, I guess. I've been in trouble with the law. I have a bad problem with authority at times, so I sort of unfortunately gravitate
towards. Can you tell us about one?
No, I'd rather not. My parents were ashamed enough. I don't want. I mean, I had an amazing family. I had law-abiding family. Both parents never been in any sort of trouble. My mom's never even got a speeding ticket. Immigrant family, worked their rear end off, put 2 kids through college, did everything the right way, paid their taxes, don't bother anybody, stay out of trouble. And they had a crappy little kid for the youngest one. And I'm not proud of it or anything. I'm just saying I tend to unfortunately look at things through the prism of the person who is being judged, and I don't know, he's screwed. I mean, it's hard to imagine this guy rebounding, at least here. I mean, maybe he goes and we can see him on Netflix at Last Chance U, and he can kind of rebuild his career here. But, I mean, if he did do it, yeah, I mean, if he's smacking a girl, who cares?
I mean, I guess that would be my point. If he did do it, I don't care that he doesn't get a chance to rebound.
But my thing is like, well, if I don't know, well then do we need to change the justice system? And I don't want to get too far down this rabbit hole, but like if it's not enough for him to get arrested, for him to not even get fingerprinted, for him to not even get handcuffed and put in a car for 30 minutes and talked to, if it's not enough for that to happen, how can you take away a kid's career, his education, is is tuition.
Well, that's the whole thing. That's why I don't. Again, we're not even really arguing with each other.
Yeah.
That one shouldn't be affected by the other. It's either a crime or it isn't. Yeah. And I feel like it shouldn't be pursued as, hey, does this guy deserve to be on a football team? It should be pursued as, hey, does this guy deserve to be walking around amongst us? Because this is a really serious allegation. Let's get to the bottom of it. Yeah. And if he's found not guilty, then he's found not guilty. But let's pursue it from that angle before we just kick it over to the university. Because it sounds to me like the university is saying, at least according to the reports, the university is saying is that he did it. Well, then if he did it, then give that information over to the police and get him out of, do something with him. Don't just kick him out of school. Do something more harsh, something more fitting of the crime. Anyway, we can stop talking about that.
I don't think that's what Willie Taggart meant when he said do something. But Corey just went ahead and said it, folks. Sure. Do something, guys. Figure it all out.
Sure. So, obviously, I don't want to talk about the football aspect of it long because, again, that I don't want to trivialize something serious. But, obviously you're losing a guy that I'm sure Greg Fry knew about the situation because it had come out a couple months before he took the job, and this was a guy he was probably counting on or thinking he would count on. But I'm sure you would think he had some sort of contingency plans in place. And it's almost a little – I don't even like – it's almost perverse to talk about football when it's something this serious.
Well, no, we've put it to bed. We've addressed the issue that we're not condoning this.
I don't want it to seem like I care that much about – I care more about Florida State offensive line than domestic violence.
People, you can throw those arrows at me. Corey has a heart. No, I mean, this is going to be a problem. And I'm not trying to make this kid sound like he was Walter Jones or Brett Williams or Alex Barron or anything like that. But, I mean, when you have that, as malign as the offensive line has been, that was, I guess, one of the more brighter spots they felt like in terms of production and talent on the football field. So to lose him, and I think that's obviously these are some of the names they have obviously right now with him being out. And I mean, everyone's like, well, they'll be fine. They'll move this guy here, and everyone keeps circling Jawan Williams as being a linchpin. And I don't know, man. Jawan Williams is a guy that, I mean, I've only been here for 4 months, but I've seen him in a sling more than I've seen him with a helmet on his head. That concerns me because that was something that he had a problem with, a year ago as well, and shoulder injuries. It's like a bad back for a pitcher or a bad elbow for a pitcher. Those are things that just don't go away. They kind of linger. So, I mean, if Jawan Williams can get himself right, you still have Cole Minshew and Landon Dickerson on the interior with Alec Eberle, then you have Derek Kelly. I mean, that's not bad. I mean, that's not bad at all. But if Jawan Williams can't make it, then if he's not healthy, then it's a fire drill. Then you're going to have to move somebody like Dickerson out to tackle, which I don't think is really his natural position. I mean, he flipped between left and right guard over the last 2 years. He's only played 11 games in his career. I mean, I like the way the guy looks, the way he moves out there, but he's really, I don't know if we can say he's unproven, but we really can't say that you can't feel too good or a slam dunk that he's going to have everything taken care of. So, I mean, if Jawan Williams can't get right, then, I mean, you're breaking in somebody. I mean, I guess you move Derek Kelly to left tackle, and you hope at right tackle maybe Mike Arnold can be the answer, because I don't know how feasible it is to move a guy like Dickerson out to an island and get him out of the phone booth.
Yeah, I don't know that they would do that. I think they'd rather keep the guy that they think is a really good guard at guard. So, right. Yeah, I mean, that's hey, that's why Greg Fry gets the big bucks, man. You got to figure that stuff out. And he wasn't left a great cupboard, it wouldn't appear. Not a real full cupboard, but he's got to make the most of it at least this year before he starts bringing in his own guys.
Yeah, so, I mean, Alec Eberle, if he comes – I mean, he's another guy that's battling injuries too, so you feel good about Eberle. I mean, to look at it from a perverse football level, I mean, I don't want to say it's unfortunate, but they have more depth at guard. Losing a guard would not have been nearly as big of a blow as losing a tackle, let alone a left tackle. So, it also makes you kind of wonder why because he was out there running with the first team most every day we were out at practice. He was the one guy I felt like also that was with both teams, and I was joking about it. I almost felt it was punishment for the kid because he was out there playing for both sides in the Garnet and Gold game. And now he's probably not going to be available for you going into 2018. This is, again, a maligned unit. But, I mean, I feel good about Derek Kelly. I feel good about Landon Dickerson. Eberle, I think, for as much guff as he got coming out of, what happened in 2016, I thought he played fairly well last year. And I like Cole Minshew, but Cole Minshew is another guy that can't stay healthy. And then it really just comes down to tackle. Like, can Jawan Williams get healthy? And if not, how is Mike Arnold going to do? And he's a guy that went the prep school route. I think he's from Winter Haven and went to Hargrave. I mean, he looked decent in limited action. I saw him at practice. Greg Fry wasn't, chewing him out and seemed pretty encouraged by what he's doing. But I don't know. I mean, you just got to get some time, block these guys in front of you to let this running back core kind of carry the day, because I don't know how it's going to work with Pass Pro with moving and changing all these pieces. But, hey, they got a bunch of time to figure it out, though, right, Corey? That's a good thing.
Hey, man, what do we got, 103 days? What's our counter at, 102 days?
Yeah, somebody has suggested that if we hit a day where there is not a current Florida State member on that doesn't wear that certain number, so we can't give a nickname out, then maybe at that point, this is from Maddie Knoll, maybe at that point, then we just examine that jersey number and say, maybe share a thought or two about our the best player who ever wore it, or maybe, walk down memory lane in that sort of regard.
Well, we can do that, buddy. Yeah. There's a lot of things we could do with numbers. That's the beauty about numbers in sports.
I'm terrible with numbers. All right, man. Let's talk about baseball. Let's talk about things that don't involve, societal things.
Bad things.
Bad things. Bad things, man. We want to talk about good things. It's Wake Up Warchant, 97.9 ESPN Radio. Coming right back after this.
You're locked in to Wake Up Warchant on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Man, I've slogged us along through 2 segments. Corey, you're gonna have to take over here, man. Make the show great again. It's Wake Up Warchant, 97.9 ESPN Radio. He's Corey Clark, senior writer and columnist for Warchant.com. I'm Aslan Hajavandi, director of digital media for Warchant.com. The show brought to you by For the Table Hospitality. Baseball, it's happening, man. It's going on right now. The ACC tournament, Florida State again, winners yesterday in walk-off fashion in, was it 12 innings or was it 11 innings? 11 innings.
I believe it was 11 innings, yeah.
Reese Albert, man. Hey, it's Reese Albert. That's what the animals say when he's up there. So the Noles moved to 1-0 in ACC play.
ACC pod play. 1-0 in ACC pod play.
Yeah, so we effectively put the stink on C.J. Van Eyck. He only made it through 2 innings. But they got the win, so all in all, a good day for the Noles.
Yeah, and Austin Pollock pitched really well, which was good to see. And then so did Kwiatkowski. He came in and pitched.
My boy Clayton.
Which was good, man. And look, Van Eyck, I mean, he was good for 2 innings. I think he got 6 straight outs and then kind of unraveled in the third. But again, as far as what you're going to do with him in the postseason, I don't think you're really all that worried. It's like, okay, for 2 innings, he gave us everything we wanted. That's what we're going to be using you for, man. We want 2 innings from you twice a weekend, because he's not going to, as we talked yesterday, he's probably not going to start. So I thought that was fine. And then, more importantly, it's just a dumb format. So they played Tuesday. They don't play again until Friday. I guess that if they win that, they play Saturday. I don't even know. I honestly don't know how it works. And I know it's sort of my job to know how it works, but it's such a dumb tournament, I'm not going to even learn. If Florida State baseball tells me they're playing on Saturday, I'll watch. I don't know how it works, though. But anyway, they play NC State on Friday. They get 2 days off, and they won 40. They're at 40 wins again for the 41st straight season.
Is that good?
I mean, it's impossible. Like, okay, so Virginia's almost certainly not going to make the NCAA tournament now after that loss. And it was hard. They were going to be hard pressed to make it anyway. But after that loss, it's almost a guarantee that they're not going to make it. Again, Virginia has a national championship, and good for them. I'm sure Florida State fans would trade in a few 40-win seasons for a national championship, maybe 20 of them. But still, all that does is show you how hard it is to be consistent. Virginia was the best team in the country 3 years ago, and now they're not even in the NCAA tournament. Meanwhile, Florida State straight goes every year. So anyway, I say it all the time. It's a remarkable accomplishment. It's something they should feel proud about, because it is an incredible accomplishment to always be good.
So you really don't know how it works, because I don't either. So I feel really derelict of duty.
I have no idea how it works. I assume if they beat NC State on
they'll advance.
Friday, they win the pod, and then they play another pod winner. They have
pool.
They have a pod off.
It is pool play. Look at that. I've been screwing us up this whole time. It is pool play. Corey, you were right. You should have trusted your instinct and not let me go with pod. It is pool play.
So who do they play Saturday then?
Saturday.
I guess they play on Saturday then.
The semifinals. They're in Pool C, so they would play the winner of Pool B, which is Clemson, Miami, Notre Dame.
So there's only 3 people in the pool. So
12 teams make it.
Matter. They have to beat NC State. If they beat NC State, they get to the semifinals. What an honor. And if they don't, then they get to come home and rest up. So I feel like, and they already beat NC State twice, so it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world for them to go ahead and lose on Friday and then just go rest up and get ready for the regionals. That said, if they beat NC State and then can beat like a Clemson again, well, now you're kind of maybe close to a top 8 seed. So, I guess they still have something to play for other than just the pride of winning an ACC championship, which they have plenty of. But, I guess if they're looking for one of those top 8 seeds, if you win 2 more games up there in old, where are we? Durham. Little Durham again. If you win a couple more games up in Durham, maybe you got a chance at the top 8 seed.
Yeah, Russ is overrated. I want to see them keep winning. I want to see them win this whole thing. I think a top 8 seed would be pretty sweet. But they can obviously backdoor into hosting like they did last year. But there's no guarantee
that they'd even get it even if they won the tournament. I guess that'd be my point.
It doesn't, but I don't know. I feel pretty good about the odds if they do. Let me ask you this. We got about a minute, and we got to get to break because we went so heavy in the first segment here. Am I being greedy and like impractical in wanting Van Eyck to be able to go like 3 innings? Because I feel like if we can get our guys...
No.
I don't know if I'd rather get 3 innings out of him or scatter 2 and 1 over the course of a weekend.
Yeah, no, I don't think it was ideal for him to do that, and I don't think that was what they wanted, was for him to not get to the 4th inning or whenever he got pulled. Although it was great to see Austin Pollock pitch well. But, again, I don't think it was something where they're like, okay, now we can't depend on him. Because, again, I think his role will be a couple innings every other day or 3 innings one day. So, I mean, he kind of struggled there in that 3rd inning, but, again, he got the first 6 outs really quickly. And that's a good sign. If you have if you're in the 7th inning with a 4-2 lead, bring in my man. He can get you outs. And I think even though it wasn't a great start, it wasn't exactly a oh no, CJ's lost it kind of appearance.
Okay,
because I think his appearances moving forward will be multiple innings, but not starts.
Yeah, I wasn't saying that. I hope that his role is a guy that they feel like they can get 9 outs out of him instead of.
Oh, sure. Yeah, no, I agree with you. I don't think it was a matter of he just wore down, because they've gotten, that game against Clemson that was the record-breaking win. I think he pitched over 6 innings in that game. He's done that multiple times this year. They know they can do it. Yeah. He didn't pitch well in his 3rd inning on Tuesday, but I don't think that's what they're going to say is, oh, we can't use him until the 7th. I was saying I wasn't that worried about it, and I doubt they're that worried about it, because they know he was still good through 2 innings, which was, better than him getting lit up in the 1st inning.
Right. I know you said his name, but we got to point it out again, man. I thought Clayton Kwiatkowski was amazing. He came in with the bases loaded with 1 out, threw 6 pitches, and got 2 strikeouts. That's amazing, man. That's nails right there. So he ultimately got the win, went 3 2/3, struck out 4, didn't even allow a hit, man. So he did hit a batter though and walked 1, I think, or walked 3. But yeah, Clayton Kwiatkowski, that's a guy that I think has been really coming on strong. Might even kind of I don't want to say dethrone Jonas Sklar, but might be obviously the second guy coming out of the pen if a guy like CJ can't go when the regional round rolls around. So we'll find out about that soon enough. Again, the Noles don't play until Friday against NC State, you said, Corey?
I believe so, my man. I believe so. And then they maybe get to the semifinals.
Yeah, this pool play stuff is crazy, man. Pool play.
I'm going to still call it pod play, because it was pool play all these other years, but all these other years it was 4 teams in it.
Yeah.
So now it shouldn't be called pool play. I'm going to call it pod play because it's different than what it was.
All right, let's do that. 7:00 Friday. 7:00 Friday. Florida State takes on NC State in the ACC conference tournament in baseball. We're wrapping up the program right after this. It's 97.9 ESPN Radio. Wake up, Warchant.
You're locked in to Wake Up Warchant on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Welcome on back. Wrapping things up here on Wake Up Warchant. I'm Aslan. He is Corey Clark. It's 97.9 ESPN Radio in Tallahassee. Show brought to you by For the Table Hospitality. Folks, don't forget, get involved. I think maybe we'll do Renegade Express tomorrow. We need to kind of get used to doing it on Thursday, because apparently that's the way the boss wants to do it when the football season arrives. So maybe we should start being consistent. But if we don't do the Renegade Express on Thursday, we'll do it on Friday. But go ahead, get involved, get on the Warchant Tribal Council, leave your question, or you can call 850-792-5730. Corey, that's 850-792-5730. Leave your question.
I wonder if 5730 spells out something.
I was just about to look at my phone and see if I could do something like that, but 573.
Because that would be easier, like 18850. What are the 236 ball or something? Not ball. We've talked a lot about we've talked too much about ball today. Anyway,
it's tough because 5 is JKL, and then 7 is PQRS. So you really can't put J in front of P or K in front of Q. Yeah, so
you needed a vowel in there somewhere.
Or maybe, I mean, who was the best 57 in Florida State history? There wasn't even like a really awesome 57, was there? Or like a 5. We could say, 850-792, Greg Reed, Christian Jones, Myron Roll, 0.
Oh, yeah, there you go. 0. Yeah, Phil Kofer.
Yeah, there you go. So, yeah, 5, we could say Greg Reed. 7, Rufus Brown. 3, Cam Akers. And Phil Kofer. So,
okay, yeah, there you go.
Oh, that's going to catch on. But again,
I can remember that.
850-792-5730. Somebody did comment on our daily thread where I post the show, a most respectful proclamation to the War Chant Tribal Council, and what the hell on not selecting Sean Jackson's send a message to those blank Canes in 93 and the blank kicking that followed to finally get past Miami to get to our first national title. Tons of caca on this slight, or caca rather. I don't even remember that. I'm terrible. You remember that?
Yeah, no, he had a big. I think it was like a 69-yard. They had 2 big touchdowns in that game, and that was the first. That was the first touchdown. Then Ward hit Matt Fryer for a long touchdown too. But yeah, Sean Jackson was a big run. It was like a 70-yarder that gave them the lead, and that was coming on the heels, obviously, of them having lost 3 in a row to Miami, 2 of which cost them national championships. So for them to finally beat them at home was a big deal. But there were also a couple runs by Warwick Dunn in that game. That's where they actually – I'm pretty sure that's where they debuted, or it was close to the debut of the direct snap to the running back. Oh. And they did it with Warwick Dunn on like a 3rd and 20. And he bounced around and got 24 yards. And that, to me, was as big – and they went on to kick a field goal, I guess, or maybe scored a touchdown on that drive. That, to me, was almost as big a run as Sean Jackson's. But, yeah, that was those were a couple cool touchdowns in that game. The best one was Matt Fryer catching the long touchdown to Charlie Ward. And then there's a cop in the end zone that's, a security guard, a cop that's cheering, and Matt Fryer, hugs him. So that was a cool moment. He outran Bob Marley's, was it his son?
Rohan Marley?
Was that his son or his nephew? I think it was his son.
I think so as well.
But anyway, he outran him to the end zone.
Let's talk about something, though, in this segment before we go. I was perusing around our premium recruiting board, Corey, which is your second home on the internet, obviously, right. The recruitnik that you are. And somebody was talking about they listened to the show, and I mentioned something about a couple, about taking things with a grain of salt, because I think a Miami site did an update on one kid that I told people I felt pretty good about Florida State's chances, and it turns out he didn't even list Florida State as one of his leaders. So I would like to defer, obviously, again, folks, to listen to Michael Langston, because you probably need to have a trained ear to listen to these kids to really know what they're saying, because I feel like they probably, you put a microphone in front of them and you ask them anything about a school, they're probably going to say something positive. So I probably don't have the properly trained, vetted ear that Langston has. So again, don't quote me on these things, because I know how serious you guys take your recruiting. And I'm not saying that in a patronizing way, but just don't make your whims and your emotions tied to what my opinion is on these things, because I'm still a newbie in the game. I just film the videos. I just do the videos. So you should see the one on Sam Howell. He's a quarterback that they went ahead and got. How about this for silliness, Corey? I'll give you 30 seconds to get on a soapbox if you'd like to. So Walt Bell goes out to visit his prized pupil, this quarterback, Sam Howell from Sun Valley High School in Monroe, North Carolina. But NCAA regulations make it to where he cannot coach him. He wasn't even talking to him. And I even told Walt off camera, I won't even film you. I don't want to get you in trouble. And he's like, nah. He's like, I'm fine. He's like, as long as I'm not coaching him, I'm okay. So he stood kind of close to him a few times, maybe within 5 or 6 feet of him. But at no time did he say one word to him. Not good throw, nice first step, go more over the top. Nothing. He just sat there and looked at him. Just flew all the way to North Carolina to look at the kid. Didn't even talk to. Couldn't even coach him. That's what we're doing, man.
I mean, it's a weird business, my man. That's all I can say. It's a weird business. These basketball. I was with Mike Martin Jr. I was doing a story on him recruiting, and he was at this baseball showcase where they have 12 games going on at once, one of those things. And there were a couple of kids that they were there looking at, that he was there looking at. And one of the kids was from a team in Indiana, an Indiana travel ball team. And he said he couldn't even go up and say hey to the kid. And I'm like, what if the kid gives you a head nod? And he goes, well, I guess I could give him a head nod back, in middle school on a hallway. And that's basically what he did. The kid walked by, he gave him a head nod, Meat gave him a head nod, and that was that. He couldn't even say, "Hey man, good game," or "Hey, good, nice job," or "Hey man, good to see you. How's everything?" Wasn't even allowed to talk to him at all. So it's a weird. Some of the stuff they let get away, or they just don't. They bury their heads in the sand and don't ever investigate at all. And then there are other things like that where, like Walt Bell can't say, "Hey man, get a little more over the top," because that would be somehow a recruiting violation.
Maybe I should reach out to Willie and see if I could recruit for maybe one cycle. I'm sure that would help my dating game out immensely. I feel like if you cannot even communicate with the person you're trying to impress, that's got to help you out when you're actually able to talk to somebody across a dinner. Then maybe I won't get friend zoned. Who knows?
I mean, that's one way to look at it for sure. It's like when you're on deck circle and you swing 2 bats.
There you go.
And then the bat in the batter's box feels so much lighter after that.
The metaphorical genius, that is the Coracle. He's Corey Clark of Aslan. Thanks for listening, folks. This is Wake Up Warchant. Jeff Cameron coming up at 3.
The Sod Cemetery, Osceola and Renegade, and of course, the War Chant. These are great traditions known to all Seminole fans. If you are a card-carrying, garnet and gold-wearing Nole, don't you deserve a site that is truly dedicated to covering FSU sports? Warchant.com's staff has over 50 years of experience covering the Seminoles. Warchant.com is the only FSU outlet with a full-time recruiting analyst in Tallahassee. Plus, it's the only site with a full-time videographer and a daily podcast, 100% dedicated to FSU sports. Why act like Gators and settle for second best? Warchant.com, your ultimate Seminole sports source.